Hi guys, so we're back from the track where we had the Mugen MBX6s and the Low-C B44, and also of course the Hobbyking BZ-222, which we had a good time there. We only used the Astro track because the dirt track was, well, it was totally iced up. There was massive puddles everywhere and stuff like that. But just so to start, really, I want to talk about the Hobbyking car, but just to mention the Mugens, these Mugen MBX6s that we got second-hand from eBay have been brilliant so far. I mean, I've got them up and running fairly easily, although, you know, had no real skill with nitro before that, apart from running my Low-C LST2 a couple of times, or a few times. Just they're very durable. People have said, I've heard on forums and things about front arms breaking or things like that, but we haven't broken anything yet. Touch wood. We did blow out yesterday clutch bell bearings on one of the cars, but that's to be expected, I suppose, to need to change clutch bell bearings occasionally. But my son, who's 10, had his way with one of these, and he crashed it a lot of times. I crashed it quite badly. A few times from a height, just trying to do big jumps and stuff, and it was really good. But anyway, moving on. So 8 scale buggy, I mean, I got to recommend it to anyone really. So moving on to this really, which is what I want to talk about, the Hobbyking BZ-222. Now it's the first time we've had it at the track. It was the Astro track, and to be to the point, I'm really pleased with it. My son really liked it. It didn't break, or nothing broke that was terminal and that ended the day. We did have some pretty big impacts to the front end, just slamming onto the upside of a jump, maybe that we've just jumped off a jump and then landing on the upstroke of another jump. The only thing that happened was one of these turnbuckles popped off when we hit a side of the track, and that just popped back straight on. It only happened once. The front end is totally fine despite lots of hits. Those plastic pieces at the back, I suppose the hinge pin holders, didn't break, so that's really good. Chassis held up, a few scratches but nothing major. The wing took a few hits and it's got a bit of damage to it, which you'd expect, the odd crease and so on, but that's what you would imagine to happen when you hit things and crash a fair bit. Body wise, there's a bit of flex in the chassis, so sort of front, you can do that. I don't know if you can see that at all, but it flexes inwards, which I think you'd kind of expect really with a buggy, and well, with anything really, any metal chassis. My MT4 had a flexible chassis, of course, as well, or a bit of flex in the chassis. I think they all have some degree of flex, so you get things like that where the body pins are just, or the body posts are pushing in towards each other and damaging the body a bit. But the body actually held up well, apart from that enlarged hole at the front. The only bit of damage that it did sustain was at the rear here, which is this piece here, which is I suppose the motor guard. It has two little plastic pieces that stick out of it, which are no longer on it, which are one there and one there, and they locate in these two holes at the back. And basically a hard, God, that motor's scratched up a lot, but a hard hit on the rear, straight down, which my son landed basically off the biggest jump on the track. He just went for it a bit, went up high, didn't do any kind of correcting, so basically a lot of weight's on the rear, so it landed right on, basically like a lawn dart, like that, from a height, and it snapped those plastic pieces, which broke that off. But what it did also do, which I suppose, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or if it's a normal thing to happen on this type of layout, but it bent the motor off to one side. It was sort of skewed off, and then I twisted it back, and I've now noticed that the motor does have quite a bit of flex, or sorry, not the motor, the whole rear end where the motor's mounted. It does move, it flexes about. I'll try and hold it steady, but if you can see that, it does move around. So I'm not sure why that is, or if that's okay or normal or what, but there's quite a bit of flex in this whole back section. It must be, I'm guessing, where it's bolted down to the chassis, or the way it's attached at the back here. It just has that movement, and it hasn't seemed to have caused a problem. But it's just something I didn't really expect to see. Yeah, basically, general impressions: it handled well, it ran well. The tyres were really good. They're quite soft. The compound's quite good. If anything, the foams inside are maybe, they almost feel non-existent, but they could maybe be a bit firmer. But yeah, it handled really well. As a cheap sort of starter buggy that you can get around an Astro track, or a tight track, I suppose, or relatively tight, a 10th scale track, and have fun with. I was really impressed. It hasn't broken anything really. The suspension seems quite nice and smooth, and generally, you know, sort of good for the setup. If anything, maybe a bit sort of light oil. The oil's maybe a little bit too light in it, but just generally for the price, really impressed. I want to try the mid-motor setup, so moving the motor from the back here to the middle section here. I'm hoping that might give it a bit more kind of neutral in the air handling, as in less weight at the rear, easier to bring the front down, things like that. But yeah, for the price, you know, I'm impressed. I think that when you decide to buy RC cars and things, you have to be quite specific to what you want. So, you know, if you're going to go and use a track, it's no good buying a monster truck. You know, if you're going to go and go and you want to do double backflips or whatever, it's no good buying a two-wheel drive buggy. If you want to run tall grass, you know, don't buy something with little wheels, you know, and all this kind of thing. It's obvious anyway, I suppose. But, you know, it's good for its intended use. I wouldn't want to go jumping this up a ramp and sort of bashing it as such. It's under that kind of basher brand or brand name. I wouldn't want to use it as a basher, as I wouldn't be overly confident in it surviving. Although of course I haven't tried that yet, so you know, I might get the ramp out and try doing some sort of bigger jumps and see if it can take it. On the other hand, of course, you have got the second-hand market. Looking at this kind of price, I got my B44, which is an old B44, but it's got a brushless censored motor in it, and it came with a 2.4 GHz controller, and that was £115, I believe, from what I remember from eBay. And you could argue that that is a better all-round package. Although, of course, if you wanted to go racing, four-wheel drive class, an old B44, I'm guessing, you know, maybe a bit not the best, and the setup on it is not amazing, as in the motor and so on is not great, so you'd need to spend some money on it to improve it. This has got a Valinion system from my Slash in it, and it is an expensive system. Of course, you can get the ready-to-run version with their own motor and stuff, and you could also buy a cheap brushless system from Hobbyking themselves or whatever, and keep the price down. Same with the 2.4 GHz, you can get them pretty cheap now. So I'm impressed with it as a small package, sort of to use on a track, which is what we've done with it. It's been really good. So that is it really. So thanks guys for watching, and hopefully get some more runs on this at some point. The weather was horrible, cold, wet. The sun was out, which was lucky, but the ground was wet, and it's just the weather here is rubbish at the moment for any of this type of thing. So I'm guessing it won't be used for a while, but a track visit in the new year, it will definitely be out. So yeah, good luck with yours guys if you got one. Cheers.